Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pit Talk, pulling pits and opinions with your host, Gunny G. As you can see, I'm in the car. I had to get the infamous Gunny Ram on the gram on an adversity and resilience session. Before we get started, though, I want to make sure that you follow, like, and subscribe everywhere you get your podcast. And follow me on social media. Leave a comment, whether you like it or not. Still going to do it, but constructive criticism is greatly appreciated. Again, follow, like, subscribe everywhere you get your podcast, especially on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is that those are the big hitter ones, right? The big ticket ones. But hey, Gunny Graham on the gram, aka Lobo Ramirez. Hey, go ahead and
Good.
introduce yourself, dog. Say hello to the listeners.
Hey, hello everybody listening. Hey, my name is Jaime Ramirez, Gunnery Sergeant of Marines. As of today, still on active duty, just pending that retirement approval to be out this year.
Well, son,
Yes.
that's what's up. Hey, congratulations. Long time coming, right?
Yeah, man, it's been, it's hard to say that about 20 years ago, I was showing up to those infamous yellow footprints, and it still seems like it was yesterday sometimes, to be honest.
Hell yeah. Sometimes I still remember those drill subjects vividly. All
Yeah.
four of them.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I like that jersey in the back, homie.
Hey, she was all day, every day.
Mm.
You gotta remember where you come from.
That's what's up, dog. That's what's up. Hey, let's get right into it, man. I don't want to take too much of your time. Just, these are some quick sessions, quick tidbits, for the guy, for the brain housing group for all Marine service members that are going through it. Can you share with us, out of all the 20 years that you've almost been in, can you share, some of the most challenging duty stations, and specifically, what made it challenging? Operation, tempo, work, extracurriculars. What made it so challenging for you?
All right. Well, I think no matter where you go, there's always gonna be a challenge. So you're gonna face challenges, and that is actually one of the selling points for the Marine Corps. When applicants come and try to see a recruiter, a lot of them pick challenge as one of their benefit tags, which is one of the ways that we, showcase the Marine Corps. So
Okay.
you are gonna face challenges no matter where you go, duty station, whether you're in the military or not. It's just how you face those challenges and how you overcome a lot of the things, right? So challenging station. So I started off in Yuma, Arizona was my first duty station. Um, and then from there I went to Camp Pendleton. I was in Camp Pendleton in two different units. From there I got to Okinawa, Japan, also two different units. Then I went to recruiting duty up in San Francisco area, you know, RSS Oakland. And many will probably think, oh, that's probably the most challenging place you were at, but it is not. Believe it or
Oh,
not, recruiting was very, very challenging, but I don't think it was the most challenging station wise and work wise. Maybe because of the maturity and rank that I already had. I was already a gunnery sergeant by then.
okay.
It was very difficult. But to further answer your question, I think the very first duty station was the most challenging. And I'll tell you why. So I was 23 years old when I joined the Marine Corps. By the time I was done with boot camp, MOS school, and everything, I was already turning 24 years old. So I checked into the fleet MCA's Yuma, Arizona, as a 24-year-old PFC, right? And I was married. So, so trying to make a living with a PFC pay with being married made it very challenging. Although the Marine Corps did take care of us, with the whole housing, we're staying on base housing and everything. Um, Financially, I was not stable back then, so we were living payday to payday. So that is one of the reasons why now, when I get young Marines telling me, "Oh, I want to get married," I want to do this, I want to do that. I don't recommend against marriage. I tell them make sure that everything else is gonna fall into place because I had a great support system with my family. There was times that I had to hit them up for a loan per se, like, hey, I need to, I'm not gonna make it for my car insurance or I'm low on this. So on top of living payday to payday, I was borrowing money from people. And so that made it difficult. It's a very high tempo duty station. Those of you who know about Yuma, Arizona, we have what do you call training all the time. So there's the WTIs that go on, so it's high tempo. So you're working a lot of the time, so you don't have a lot of time off. Like any other regular duty station where you're Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and it was very challenging because you're learning a whole new job, a whole new thing. You're married. Your wife is pregnant at the time. My wife was pregnant at the time, so it's a lot. How did I overcome those obstacles? Well, like I said, I have great family members supporting me. Also, my peers, that I had a couple of Marines that were in the same situation as far as being married, and they kind of helped me navigate through the resources that the Marine Corps had for me. I had great NCOs. My sergeants at the time were amazing, and also the staff NCOs actually took care of us.
Yeah, that's good. That's good because I can relate, man. I remember I was turned 21 when I came in, and I was already married, had 2 kids, right?
Hmm.
And man, living on base housing, paycheck to paycheck was. I mean, my granted, I didn't have a job before that, but now that I had one, it was now I'm not rich. Now I'm just living paycheck to paycheck, trying to survive to the next one, next 15 days. It was rough. You ain't lying, man.
Yeah.
Especially as a PFC, trying to take care of 3 dependents, food, this, that, the other. You definitely have to have a good support system, man. Especially people that care about you truly, that want to be in your circle. So that's good, man. How did your first duty station, the temple, you were getting used to the temple, the job, everything around the Marine Corps, being a new Marine, being in a new organization, being around new people, professionally and personally, you know, outside of you, how did that affect, personally outside of work? How did that affect you professionally, trying to get in the temple, trying to get snapped in as a Marine? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it was difficult because, like I said, I was 24 years old.
Yeah.
My average sergeant was 24 years old. I
Yeah.
had in the area that I worked in, I had like 5 sergeants and a few corporals. I was older than most of my corporals. About the same age as my sergeants. So the mentality of a older, adult like who has already had a job, the expectation is a lot more. But learning the job is the same. It's yes, I've held many jobs before, but it's not something that I'm used to. The structure of the military, how you conduct yourself, um, asking permission to leave the area during your weekend. Like that was a huge thing. Like I'm 24 years old. I gotta ask permission to drive up to San Diego for the weekend because it's not within the overnight limits. Like,
Yeah.
what is it? So all I did is kind of like pick everybody's brain from the other PFCs were my peer group to the civilians that work with us and the NCOs. There was good leadership, there was bad leadership, there was a bunch of everything, and I think that is what made it better because you learn how to be like, and you're also learning how not to be like when you get there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. Um, in all the 20 years, do you remember the first duty station the most, huh?
So I'm never gonna forget that because we had some tough times. It was tough because you're learning how to be a Marine in your MOS in the fleet. You're learning the tempo, but this is the first time I'm moving in with my wife at the time too. So I'm learning how to be a husband. I'm learning how to, be all that. Before that, I've been single my whole life. I never lived with anybody else. I got married a little bit before I went to boot camp. So I got married in December. I went to boot camp in January.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So a lot of there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of that expectation because you're bringing a whole new person that didn't sign up for the Marine Corps, but now she's a big part of the Marine Corps because she's your spouse, and whatever happens at home will affect you at work as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So you got it's crazy, especially at 24, and men are not even mature at 24. You know what I mean? They're not fully mature at 24. So that's crazy. Me too. Same here, man. It was rough. First duty station was rough, but I'm glad that you made 20 years, man. Can you tell me a little bit of a gunny ram on the gram, though? Tell me about that.
So that was actually it went to when I started on recruiting duty, right?
Uh,
So I had, just my regular Instagram handle, Gunnerson Ramirez, whatever, whatever. And then I started working with Gunnerson Rivera. And he was just like, man, you should just put Gunny Ram, because everybody would call me Ram. Like all the other recruiters, I guess Ramirez is too hard to say for some people. So everybody just started calling me Ram, Ram, Ram. So that's where it all started. And then one day he's like, you should change your screen name to Gunny Ram. So I did, and then I didn't even know how somebody was like, yeah, you just put on the gram, because I was using Instagram a lot for prospecting. So if you're a recruiter out there and you're listening to this and you're crying and complaining that is crazy, that you don't want to be making phone calls, you don't want to go out and talk to people, hit them up on Instagram. Use your social media. That is the quickest way you're gonna get in contact with somebody, and you gotta know when they saw your message, and they may or may not respond. And you also gotta put a face to the kid you're trying to reach, instead of just making phone calls. So social media has been a lot. It's been a great tool if you know how to use it correctly.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's
So
true.
that's where it all came up. It was basically my roommate that gave me that name.
Gunny
and,
ram. I like
and,
it, dog.
and,
It rolls right off the tongue, dog.
and
I want you to touch on. You touched on the very beginning of your career. What's the difference now that you're so senior? What are the difference in challenges now that you face as a senior Marine versus a young Marine?
All right. That's an easy answer. So back then, when I was a junior Marine, I would just be like, man, it don't matter. Whatever I think or do, it's not gonna matter up, because the higher ups are just so worried about themselves, right? Now I'm in a position where I can show the Marines facing those challenges that I went through those challenges also. And I guess the biggest challenge in that is gaining the trust and confidence of the junior Marines who you're trying to help.
Yeah.
Because especially when you have Marines that have like a bitter taste about the Marine Corps already, they had some bad leadership in the past. And let's say they felt like a gunner sergeant in the past screwed them over. Now they're gonna see me with the face of that other gunner sergeant.
Mm,
So I guess the biggest challenge is gaining people's trust and see and help them understand that you're there to help them, because at the end of the day, when we accept this promotion, it is, with great responsibility, and it's not for personal gain.
mm,
Are there people out there doing it for personal gain? Yes. There's people that just get promoted and they just want to be on top, and they really don't care much about who stays behind. But no, if you're gonna be out there, preaching, all this, you gotta practice what you preach.
yeah.
So it's a challenge, but once you get to that level where you have a bunch of Marines and they start seeing who you are, what you're up to, then it becomes easier to help them. And in the end, they're the ones helping you, because a lot of times they don't get credit, but everybody that is working with us, whether it's under us with the whole rank structure, they're the ones making it happen. You just
Yeah.
gotta give them a little bit of push sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Setting an example, being consistent as a senior leader, I agree, man. That's the most challenging part because you're always most of us are like, I. How
So,
can I better myself? And that's good in a sense, and that makes sense in a sense. But every day, all day, it just gets a little old, man. You get people want to come to work. You know,
yep,
why do they want to come to work? Because they want to see Gunny Ram. You know what I'm saying? I want to go work with Gunny Ram. That's the kind of tempo. That's the kind of environment. That's the kind of place you want to go to work to. It's a Wednesday on a hump day. Why you want to
yep.
go? Why you so excited to go to work? Because I'm gonna work with Gunny Ram. You know what I'm saying? And
And you
so
got to set the conditions. If you set
yeah,
the conditions are right, the mission is going to get accomplished, and there's going to be troop welfare. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to walk out with a smile.
that's true.
And we have to remind ourselves why we came in the Marine Corps to begin with, and then you got to understand all your Marines. Single one of your Marines had a why. You have to understand. And when you see them swaying away from what their why was, you had to reel them back in and be like, hey, remember, you said you wanted to get your education? How many classes have you done? You wanted to be physically fit? What's your training regimen? What are you doing to accomplish those goals? Sometimes
Yeah.
you got to be reminded. I got to be reminded of a lot of things. And sometimes it'll be my junior Marines. I have a phenomenal staff son that keeps me on my feet, on track. She's always calling me out on my BS, and I'll be like, you know what, you're right. I got to do a lot better on that. Whatever it is that we're, setting goals for.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. They all have a why. You got to remind them when they're off track. That's good. That's good because you're right. It's not the Marine Corps why. It's their why that makes this organization so good. So that's good, man. That's good. I appreciate that. I took that. I'll put it in my toolbox, my NCO toolbox. Um,
Yeah.
my last question for you, Guns. You got can you provide anybody, this is not just for the Marines, this is for anybody that's going through a transition in job, transition in work, and now senior, now they're in a leadership role. um, Provide some give them something tangible moving forward,
Mm.
like, hey, look, yeah, I know you're going through it, but here's what it is. I'm telling you, as this you can do this. Give them something like that.
Yep. So we owe, this is mainly first for people in the service, right? We know we have a contract. Let's say it's whether 4 years, 5 years, or if you're going to do 20 years. You have to, regardless of how much time you plan on doing, you have to train yourself to get out. Every day is what am I gonna do when I don't have this longer? If something happens, if I get injured and I have to get out, which is the case with me, I'm gonna be retiring at like 8 months before the 20-year mark because I just went through a medical board and I was found unfit for further service due to injuries that I've been dealing with for the last few years. So I've been getting myself ready, get the knowledge, take care of the resources that the Marine Corps has, the Army, Navy, Air Force. They're all over the place. And I know this for a fact because when I was stationed in San Francisco, I was using the Air Force Base Resources Center there. And kind of just prepare yourself to do something that you like. You already did the Marine Corps, may or may not be your first choice. The job that you ended up with may or may not have been what you wanted because, in the Marine Corps, you must qualify for the jobs you want. You're not
Yeah.
always going to get what you want. But
Yeah.
as long as you're qualified, you could be a Marine. Well, now you got the time to prepare yourself to do what you want because now, guess what? You're not even going to be working. You're going to be making money, doing what you like. And when you have a passion to accomplish something, you're going to show up and it's always going to be game day. It's going to be like you're going to show up to the Super Bowl every single time and you're gonna
Yeah.
knock it out. It's gonna pay dividends what you put in now. Now, people that are out there that are not sure, and this is like non-military. Let's say they're doing something they don't like. They're working at a warehouse and they're not seeing themselves getting any further, not getting more pay, more benefits. In fact, they see people as they grow, they get cut from the company because the company doesn't want to pay them retirement. They got to pay attention to that. What's going on above us. So if I'm just a ground level worker, I gotta see with a supervisor if they're going up or down, and their managers, the management, see where the company's taking them. If it's not a bright future, they might want to start looking into something else because the last thing they want to do is end up on the unemployment list. It's just crazy. And one thing also for my senior enlisted Marines officers, understand that once you get out, you're no longer that gunny, that master gunny. You're not that major, the lieutenant colonel, general. So you're gonna have to adapt to what is out there. I was having on Dakota Myers live conversation a few days ago, and him and I were exchanging some words, some ideas, and he brought up a good point. I said the Marine Corps makes leaders. Since you're in boot camp, they make you be a leader. Hey, I need a squad leader. Who's gonna fight for that spot? The guide, whatever. So you have that mentality that you want to lead in the Marine Corps, right? But it gets to a point where those leaders that the Marine Corps help make
Yeah.
become nothing but managers. And what he explained during that thing is like you have a whole bunch of managers And I'm talking about you staff sergeants, you gunnies, you first sergeant majors. All you're used to now is managing, but you're not looking into the bigger picture, which is who are you leading? Are they following you? Because leadership, that's a key word. Leading, you're leading. Who are you leading? If you're just managing, everybody's just gonna see, okay, that's the troop handler. Okay, he says move right, I'm gonna move right. He says move left, I gotta move left because that's the expectation.
Yeah,
But it's the guy that teach me how to move left, how to move right. That's what people are paying attention.
that's good. That's good. Hey, if you're just tuning in, follow, like, subscribe. But we got Gunny Ram on the gram, and it's good. You got to figure out, you know, long story short, tune into the session. But long story short, man, you were telling the listeners, you know, don't forget your why. And as a senior leader, you got to put them back on track. Your first duty station probably is the toughest because you're right. It's for me, it was for the other people that I've had conversations with. It seems like their first duty station is the roughest because they're transitioning into a whole new world, and that's fair. That's fair. You got to have a good support system, is what you said. You gotta that's got to be one of the priorities because if your home's not right and they're not being supported, that's going to affect your mission accomplishment throughout the day. Your emotions are going to be affected. Your personality is going to be affected. So have a good support system. And dude, this was good. Hey, share. You were talking about before we started. A negative plus a negative equals a positive. Can you explain that? That's basic math, master
Yeah,
Marines.
man.
But I was talking about adversity and resilience. A negative plus a negative is a positive. Explain that part.
Yeah, so I believe that when there's something negative going on in your life, work, relationships, whatever, it's most times tied into something positive. And then something else happens and it's also negative. So you feel like, and I can't catch a break. But if you start bringing all those negatives and understand what's around it, it's just like simple math. A negative times a negative equals a positive. Basic math, you carry the one and it'll get you there, bro. It's just the way it is.
Oh, that's good. And you also said that too. It's just what is it? Carry the one. Who is the
Yep.
one that you're talking about?
Hey, at the end of the day, you got to carry yourself. Leave the victim mentality behind because ain't nobody coming to pick you up. Ain't nobody going to come to carry you. Ain't nobody coming to save you but your damn self.
Hey, that's what's up. That's a mic drop in itself right there, dog. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a busy schedule. I appreciate you taking the time to talk about adversity, resilience, and share your story and get it out there. And if you have anything else, man, where can we reach you at? What are your handles so that if other people want to talk to you, get to know you, where can they reach you at, dog?
So you could reach me on Gunny Ram on the gram if you just put that. I know it's like Gunny underscore on the underscore gram. You could find me there. That's mostly what I use. Facebook is more like a family page, but you could find me there also, Lobo Ramirez. And, send out one thing I want to say, like surround yourself with good leaders and look at their habits. Also see those that are not doing so great and look at their habits. And
Hmm.
that's going to make you be yourself. I know not too long ago, you interviewed Jason Pierce. He was
Oh,
my first reporting senior, meaning if you're not in the military, we got fitness reports. Jason Pierce was my first reporting senior, meaning he did my first fitness reports. Back in 2008, I believe. During that same time, Sergeant Major Ruiz, who was a sergeant major of the Marine Corps, was my company gunny at the time. And I'll
small
tell you,
world.
man, I got stories for days. Like he would teach us drill. He would have us out there. If you're a corporal or above, you're practicing drill on the parade day. So at that time, you feel like, man, why is this dude having us do all this? And the depot south, he should go back to the depot. But now you understand, like he's not making you do nothing. He's actually taking time out of his day to come teach the Marines something he has already mastered. And that right there, I think, is what makes great leaders.
That's good. Time, inconvenience, whether you want to be a leader or not, it's inconvenient. And whether
Yep.
you choose to make that inconvenience a convenience, that's what makes you a good leader. That's why you start major in the Marine Corps now, right? And
Yep.
Yeah, hey, again, dog, if you ever need anything, let me know. Hit me up. You got my number. I appreciate you sharing adversity and resilience, your story to get it out there, because you can relate it to across all spectrums of work and life. So I appreciate it, dog. And if you ever need anything, like I said, hit me up.
Yeah, man. Hey, before we go, big shout out to one of my motivators, Corporal Diaz Magallon. I told him I would give him a shout out. He's a big follower. So there you go. Diaz is for you.
Hey,
And then and I'm gonna get you this, man. I'm gonna send you this.
oh, you got one, dog. Hey, let me know.
Yeah.
Hey, let me know, dog. I'll send you the money and all that stuff. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's
Just
what's
send
up.
me, just send me, and I'll tell you a story in the back. It has all my duty stations that I've been to, so
That's
you could
hot. Hey, you're
yeah.
motivating me, dog. I'm about to make one.
And you should, man. I know a guy who knows the guy. So let me know, and I got you.
Hey, DM me, dog. Hit me up. I'm
Yeah,
down for sure.
yeah. My
And
boy, Mermaid Metals. She'll hook you up with a badass coin.
mermaid met.
Mermaid Metals.
That's what's
Yep.
up, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pit Talk, pulling pits and opinions with your host, Gunny G, and we out.